Why do the floats remain motionless when there are clearly fish in the nest? Have you encountered these 5 situations? I wonder if fellow anglers have encountered a similar situation while fishing in the wild. There are clearly fish in the nest, but the floats don't move at all, which is what we often call fish not biting. Of course, we must first figure out how to judge whether there are fish in the nest by the water. Generally, it is judged by some conditions on the water surface. For example, there are continuous bubbles rising, or small fish are constantly leaping out of the water, from which we can infer that there may be large fish at the bottom. At this time, if the floats still don't move, we will feel very confused. Below, let's discuss with fellow anglers the 5 situations where there are fish in the nest but the floats don't move, hoping to help everyone in wild fishing. 1. Excessive nest baiting, most common in wild fishing. Some anglers always like to make a large nest during fishing. If the fishing time is short and the amount of nest bait is particularly large, this situation will occur. Fish only eat the nest bait instead of the hook bait. There are many fish bubbles on the water surface, but the floats remain motionless. A reminder to anglers with short fishing time: don't use too much nest bait next time, especially if you are not targeting large fish. The amount of nest bait should be appropriately controlled. 2. Overuse of additives in nest bait or strong flavor profiles. Many anglers like to add additives to nest bait. Sometimes, if the nest bait or hook bait has too strong a flavor, it will cause fish to produce bubbles in the nest without biting the bait. 3. Fish stratification due to temperature changes. For example, if the temperature was very low and the water was cold in the previous 2 days, but suddenly the sun is strong in the afternoon when fishing, the surface water temperature rises, causing fish to move out of the bottom layer, while we are fishing at the bottom. In this case, there may be fish bubbles on the water surface or small float movements, but no obvious biting signals. We can see fish bubbles, but the floats don't move significantly. 4. Bait buried in silt or weeds at the bottom. Many anglers believe that if the silt layer at the bottom is too thick or there are weeds, the bait may be difficult for fish to find after falling, resulting in bubbles on the water surface but motionless floats. 5. Excessive bait atomization attracting non-target fish. If the bait atomizes too well, it may attract silver carp or bighead carp to the nest, while we are targeting bottom-dwelling fish. At this time, there are also bubbles on the water surface, but the target fish are not biting, so the floats remain motionless. Additionally, special cases like turtles or snakeheads entering the nest they don't eat commercial bait can also cause fish bubbles without float movements. Supplementary notes for novice anglers. 2. Too dull adjustment. Using long sublines may result in no float movement even if fish eat the bait. Overpursuit of sensitivity, failing to fish at the bottom properly, so fish can only eat nest bait without reaching the hook bait, leading to no float signals. In wild fishing, these situations are common. Anglers should not stick to fixed methods but adjust flexibly and promptly to achieve twice the result with half the effort.